Hello and welcome to another exclusive episode of the Not For The News show here on Pitch Football for the app and our YouTube channel. Quite fortunate enough to be joined by my esteemed colleagues, Curtis Woodhouse, aka the War Dog, and Leon Nightlife Knight. What's going on? You recovered all right, yeah?
I'm still scrambling, I ain't even gonna lie.
Wow. For those that don't know, Leon was at quite a high-profile wedding over the weekend of one of his former teammates, one of his former youth players and friends. Seemed exciting, mate. Seemed like a lot of footballers in one place. You look like you was enjoying yourself, Nighty.
Bruv, unbelievable night, bruv. They've got me, the Sun newspaper, has put me there and said, journeyman Leon Knight was there. I'm phoning the Sun in a minute, cuz.
Wow.
Swear down. I'm gonna phone them or speak to someone. I'm tweeting someone, I know that.
Wow, journeyman.
You need to put some respect on your name, Nighty.
You get what I'm saying? They need to put some sort of respect on. Nah, bruv, serious. When they bring up my name, they need to do something, because this is unacceptable, bruv.
Yeah. They could have put anything. They could have put former Lillyshaw hotshot. Could have put.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Former Chelsea
Journeyman,
protege, you know? Former Huddersfield hitman, former the man who scored the promotion goal for Brighton. You got the journeyman tag. Wow.
But it's cool, man. I'm there. You get me?
It's true. No, it's true. You're involved, isn't it? It's the main thing.
Yeah.
It's the main thing. Come on. Right, lads, let's look at a little bit what's been going on. We saw Liverpool have the parade of all parades. Considering they suffered defeat, and you could see the parade from space, I'm judging it was pretty passionate. What did you guys make of it?
I think because obviously the last time Liverpool won a few trophies, we're in lockdown, weren't we? So people couldn't really get to celebrate. But I've seen it on social media, and it looked outrageous, to be fair. I mean, they come out, don't they? The Liverpool fans are unbelievable. They come out in numbers. It looked epic, to be fair. And people are saying, well, they only won the FA Cup and the League Cup, but it's still a lot. But I suppose if you're a player, you probably got that tinge of you feel like you've lost. When you lose the League and the European Cup, you probably feel a little bit what could have been. But yeah, the parade looks ridiculous.
I mean, I live up in Liverpool, so
that's what I was going to say. You're an adopted Scouser now, aren't you?
So it's like, do you know what I mean? They, like Curtis saying, the support they have, like even Everton as well. Like, do you get what I'm saying? They love their clubs, man. Jesus Christ, like mate, honestly, you get in a taxi and are you blue or red? And you're like, oh no, I'm a red, but I'm Arsenal. Like, do you know what I mean? Oh, okay. Like, it's proper tense up here. Like, they love their football club. If they show out, like you saw in the parade there, they show out. They just, do you know what I mean? They're proper supporters.
You look on the flip side of that, and you've seen like Man City's celebrations for winning the league, and it just looked like, wow, one was a proper football club, and the other was just like not really asked if they win or lose. It was different level, wasn't it? I've boxed twice in Liverpool, and it's a crazy place. Like, people are on it. They absolutely love it.
Two things they love up here, Curtis, is flipping football and boxing.
Yeah,
and they've throughout the years they've had unbelievable boxers and unbelievable footballers, and it's a place that people take the piss out of, like Scousers and stuff and whatever, but the city's unbelievable, the people are unbelievable, so friendly, do you know what I mean? And it's just they've just got a tag on them that ain't really deserved, to be fair.
You know what, with Scousers, like they're very passionate about their own people, and people do take the piss out of that, and some of them are like unbearable. When Liverpool are winning or Everton are winning, they're unbearable. But it's they're a bit like, say, someone like Robbie Savage, where everybody hates him unless they're on your team. And that's kind of what it's like in Liverpool. If you're from Liverpool, then everyone loves you and you're in that little community. Anyone from outside of Liverpool, you try and say anything about the city, they're on you. Yeah, and you know what? You've got to respect that. They look after their own.
Where do you lads stand on the Scouse not English thing? What are your thoughts?
Shocking.
Yeah, it's shocking, mate. Because come on,
a bit of a shocker, isn't it?
Yeah, we're in England. Like, do you know what I mean? Because
do you think it's a joke that's gone too far? Like, where it was initially.
No, I think people actually try and separate themselves from the Liverpool people, and it's a bit shit, to be honest, because I know when flipping England were up here, and England were playing, and I'm up here, obviously. Do you know what I mean? Flags are out, England flags are out, and whatever. And, you know, just to get that, when you're from outside Liverpool and you got that, like, you know, that's sort of way against Liverpool people, it's just a bit shit, to be fair.
We're seeing it more of Liverpool against the rest of the country, to be honest, Leon. We all love having the Scousers included. If you think you've got the Cockneys, you've got the Manx, you've got the Yorkshire lads, you've got the Brummies, you've then in turn got the Scousers. It's a big part of the country. I think for them isolating themselves away from the rest of us ain't helped them a bit.
Yeah, I seen Trent didn't sing the national anthem either, did he? I don't know if that's a thing, anything to do with Scouse, not English. But the other day he didn't sing the national anthem.
Yeah, but bro, if you click it back, Gary Neville never used to sing the national anthem.
Yeah, a few people have said others did it. It's the first time I've really noticed, because the whole Scouse English thing's been a pretty hot topic lately. But I remember like Euro 96, where you have Tony Adams belting it out and all things like that. So, I mean, when you ask like why they say Scouse not English and you hear the responses, you kind of get it, because Liverpool as a city has had a rough ride by the government, Maggie Thatcher and all that stuff that come with it, the cover-up of Hillsborough. I do understand their argument, but I disagree with it. But I understand where they're coming from. They have had a rough ride, but we all have all over the country, you know.
I just feel like, do you know what I mean? When the Liverpool people just feel like they ain't accepted. So, you know, if we're not accepted, then fuck it, innit? Like, we've got our own people. Do you know what I mean?
I just want to say, any Scousers that are watching this, you are accepted. We like having you part. We like having you part of the country and the contingent. So get yourselves involved. Stop being helmetrons. We're all one people. Do you can't say anything about Scousers, and I'm going to agree with it. Like derogatory or bad or whatever about Scousers, and I'm going to agree with it. I'm going to actually stand up and say, "Nah, you lot are chatting shit." So I don't expect nothing. I don't expect nothing less.
My daughters are Scousers and all that. Do you know what I mean? So,
hey, Knighty, do your kids speak with a Scouse accent?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, there's one that's a real common one as well. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, it's cool, man. It's cool. Everyone's cool up here.
Now, the parade for Liverpool was one thing, but the parade that really got my attention was the non-league team from Scunthorpe that hired out an open-top bus and went around their city. Brilliant. Absolute brilliant banter from the lads. No one in Scunthorpe had a clue what was going on. And the lads are there on their open-top bus, absolutely having it. Got to applaud their behaviour. Really do.
You get that with non-league clubs, you know what I mean? You get that they're passionate, like, you know, they want to get to the next level and whatever, and they're going to do everything within their power.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To be, you know, just like Liverpool were or Man City were, they're going to try and do everything, like, do you know what I mean? To make it seem like, not even seem, just to show that, you know, they've done something.
It's nice for them as well to get that moment, isn't it? To have that moment of adulation.
You know, the players that have won in the non-league, they've won the cup or the league or whatever, they go on the open top bus. That means as much to them as what it does to Liverpool players.
Exactly.
Winning is winning, no matter what level you're at. You know, when I just think about my own boxing career, me winning the British title was as much to me as somebody unifying the heavyweight division. Yeah. It is what it is. What it means to you, you know. So fair play. I loved it. I thought the banter was class to go around Scunthorpe, open top bus. I'm all about it.
Yeah. I'm having that as well.
Okay. So we've also seen in some other news, Zouma has been given 150 hours of community service for his attack on the cat. Is it enough? Is it enough of a deterrent for what happened, or do you think it got blown up out of proportion? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, he kicked the cat, innit?
He kicked the cat and swung it around.
Yeah, I think 150 hours. I mean, I don't know. You look at some paedophiles that get less than that, you know. So it's a difficult subject to comment on without getting like a ridiculous amount of backlash off animal lovers and this, that, and the other. Yeah. But I just think the punishment is way overboard, in my opinion. When you get paedophiles and nonces that are not getting anywhere near that, get warnings and things like that, and then you get Kurt Zouma doing community service. If it wasn't Kurt Zouma and it was just somebody else who nobody knew There's no way on God's green earth he's
No
getting
chance.
150 hours or whatever it was, community service. He's probably getting a 50 quid fine. But because it's Kurt Zouma, they want to make a spectacle of it. They want to have their moment against him. So they kind of chuck the book at him. I think it's too much.
Do you know what I think? I always think, what was that story distracting us from? Took up a lot of inches and tabloid and a lot of news time, old Kurt Zouma. So what was going on behind the scenes that Kurt was scapegoated in the public eye for?
It's the same as everything, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's the same as everything. It's the same as everything. Like when there's a big story, there's always an undercurrent of something going on, a court case going on here between some, high profile government members or whatever, and they're doing a load of paedophile stuff and whatever, and out comes this breakness of illness, or this breakness of a footballer doing this, or someone cheating, and under the cover is there's something else going on that if the public got hold of it, it would just spread like flipping wildfire. But like I said, it's the same all over the place, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's the same. I always think that as well. Why is this getting blocked? Not the Kurt Zouma case, but like why are certain things getting blown out of proportion? And I feel like if I dug deeper, you'll find something going on around the world that if people got hold of it, then like I said, they'll be all over it. But what can you do?
It's like I seen someone say the other day, who was it? It was a footballer. One of the commentators said that Ukraine should get a pass into the World Cup for all
Graham Souness.
Yeah, Graham Souness. Like Ukraine should get a pass, be able to play in the World Cup. And I'm like, wow, what an idiot. There's wars going on all over the world, Syria have been at war for years. There's all sorts going on in the Middle East. People getting killed left, right, and centre on numbers you can't even imagine. But we don't report that in our media over here. And all of a sudden, Ukraine are at war, and Graham Souness wants to give them a pass into the World Cup. It's so blinkered.
Against Scotland, nonetheless. He wanted Scotland to throw the game, his own country.
I like Graham Souness because he speaks from the heart and whatever, but that comment there was ridiculous.
Yeah, I just want to point out I like Graham Souness as well. Any man that runs on the pitch in Turkey with a giant flag, puts it in the middle of the ground, balls of steel, and if that's what he genuinely believes, I guess we should take that in consideration. I just think he's talking Cobb's wallet, to be honest.
Yeah, Souness was a player as well.
Player.
I like Souness. I love listening to him, but he's talking nonsense.
Yeah, that's gone beyond. Do you know what I mean? Just rubbish.
But you know what? It's not really Graham Souness's fault because that's what he's getting rammed down his throat. Ukraine.
Exactly.
And we've all got sympathy for what's going on in Ukraine, but it just shows that what the media tries to throw down your throat, that's all that you're aware of. You actually look outside of the mainstream media and look at the wars that are going on around the world that we don't know anything about because we don't get it stuffed down our throats. So it's not actually Graham Souness's fault.
I don't remember anyone trying to put Lebanon into the World Cup.
That's what I mean. No. All sorts going on. Yeah. People are dying all over the country, people fighting over oil and money, mass thousands of people dying every single day, but we pick and choose what we take notice of over here.
Now, one story that I think hasn't had enough news and enough hype around it is the controversy that's gone on with CSKA Sofia. Manager Alan Pardew has resigned from manager of the club as some of the team's fans threw bananas at his black players, made his position untenable. Only 35 days into the job as well. What do we make of that situation? What do you think of it?
I like the stand. Do you know what I mean? I like the stand that he's took. And that's all I can really say. I like the stand. He's done what, should have been done, really. What are you going to do? Go against the fans and, speak to the chairman and all of this. And, do you know what I mean? You're probably going to get away with it. Or get the people that was doing it and then flipping ban them or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's just, me personally, I would have done the same thing and just walked away, to be honest. So I rate what he did there, to be honest. I really, really rate what he did there.
I was going to say that. It'd probably been a lot easier for him not to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
like I'm guessing countless of managers have done in the past, and just get on
Yeah.
with his job. The fact he's highlighted it, took a stand, made his own position untenable. Does that give you more of a respect for Alan Pardew?
Yeah, I do. I respect it. I respect it. You know, he's managed in England, and managed a lot of black players and stuff, and probably have good relationships with certain black players and all of that. So I like the stand that he's took. To be honest, I really rate it highly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I think Knight is spot on, and you know what? Like, whether people like this or not, when that stand comes from a white man, it means a hell of a lot more.
Yeah,
and that's just how it is, because I was speaking yesterday about a guy I trained. I mentioned him last week in the show, didn't I? Adrian King, who got bullied.
Adrian!
Who got bullied racially over here, and I explained that that's what he got picked on because of the color of his skin. And one of the first comments I got underneath it was, "Oh, here we go again, playing the race card." I'm like, just explain to you why he got abused. So if you're a person of color who starts discussing racism, you always get that labeled at you. But when a stand comes from a white person, it always carries more weight. So kudos to Alan Pardew, respect for what he's done. He's done the right thing, and fair play.
Yeah, love Alan Pardew for that. Now, like you mentioned, it stands more. It has more powerful when it comes from someone like Alan Pardew. Has there been incidents in the past where you've expected managers to come out and do something and they haven't done anything, whether that be in the public eye or privately?
I can't think anything off the top of my head, but I always see these situations as the same, and it's been the same over time, that people will always look out for number one first and foremost.
Yeah.
So if people think it's going to affect them personally, 9 out of 10 people put their heads down and keep walking. It's just how it is. That's in football, in society, in everything. So that's why, props to Alan Pardew that's come and said, you know what, I ain't standing for this. Like Knight said, I bet he's managed a hell of a lot of black players, have good relationships with them. He knows what's right, he knows what's wrong. And he said, I'm not having this. I'm not going to pretend this didn't happen. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, but it was an accident. He said, no, I'm done. I can't think of anything off the top of my head where I'm like, you're not really saying too much about that one, but I'm sure there's loads of instances.
Yeah, there's loads.
Taking into consideration about what you said about it's more powerful from his point of view because of his skin colour. Do you think if a black player would have come out with allegations and stories of racism in the 80s and 90s that they would have been labelled a bad egg rather than being looked at as a victim in that situation?
Yeah, 100%. You couldn't come out in the late 90s, early 2000s or whatever, and came out and started talking like that. You'd have lost your job, for one, 100%. And you'll have that tag going around you all over the place. This was the player that supposedly was racially abused or whatever. And that's like Curtis says, it's just how it is, and it's sad. It's sad, but it ain't no time soon is it going to change.
No, you know what? And a lot of it hasn't changed. It's just masked in different language. Yeah. So the one now is got a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
That it's the same type of thing, but it's just worded differently. I hate it when people say that about, and it's always about black players or, it's the same sort of thing, but a different language. It annoys me.
Just makes me think how much some of the older players had to deal with. And I know some of the younger players, including Knight, have been quite unforgiving in the fact that they didn't report the issues at the time. But part of me feels like if they would have been more vocal, their career would have been done. You know what I mean? If they would have come out and said, look, I've been abused 3 times in their own changing rooms this week by some of my own players. And in my opinion, I felt uncomfortable. How would that have acted and affected their career? Knighty, what's your take?
Well, I just think do you know what I mean? We had the Kick It Out campaign when I was playing. And I think if more black players would have jumped on that, it would have, people would have stood up and took a bit more notice. But like Curtis said earlier on, it's people got bills to pay. People got families to look after. And, in that area there, if it weren't affecting them, they wouldn't have said anything. if it's, you know, just said to another player, you would have found some players would have laughed it off. You know, like I said, it's just the way it is, and you know, it's changing due to social media a little bit and stuff. But like Curtis said, it's just turned on his head, chip on his shoulder, or he's a bad egg,
lazy. Just think about that. Do you know what though, Nighty? I think that the big ones, you know, once you get yourself to a certain level in the game financially, you have more power than the football.
Yeah.
The big ones, I wanted them to come out. I expected them to come out. Yeah, I don't expect someone who's playing for a League Two club getting £750 a week, who's living week to week, who needs that job to put his head on the chopping block. But the big ones that didn't say anything, then I look at them and think, you had an opportunity, and now they're all over the media trying to run their mouth 20 years later. I'm with you on that one, Night. I'm like, nah, drop me out. You had your chance when it meant something, and you flopped.
Yeah, and us as young players, you know, it would have made it much more easier for us, you know, because the older lot, if they would have came through, and the more elite players, Premiership, Arsenal players, Man United players, you know, any Premiership team really, if they're like the elite players like that was at the top of their game, Henry or whatever, would have come out and, you know, started speaking, it would have been a lot better. But like I said, bills to pay, people to look after. If it ain't against them, it don't concern them.
I think also we need to understand culture at the time. We need to understand the programming that was put on the TVs at the time. So you had programs like Love Thy Neighbour, which was one of the most racist shows you ever see. But it was basically a black guy and a white guy who were really good friends, but they just caned each other all day. And I think if you look at some of the programming from back in them times, it was clearly
and it was
not seen as a big issue to be racist towards someone.
That sort of thing was in clubs as well.
I can imagine, especially because if that's the programming you're getting at the time, that's the level. It's trying to show you the level of people's mentality of the era.
You'd get people, you know, people might not think it's a lot, but you get like coaches coming in speaking like they're black, and it's just like, do you know what I mean? Slang that black people use or whatever, and you know,
like a white coach would come in and pretend to be West Indian, or he would come in and talking a more of a sort of a London accent.
Yeah, walk in with a little bit of a bowl or like he's got a limp in his leg, and do you know what I mean? It's just a load of stuff, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous, to be honest. Because at the end of the day, I always say it's what you're doing on the pitch. Don't matter about the colour of your skin, mate. What you're doing on the pitch. And there's been enough black players throughout the history of football that's been so influential, that's unbelievable. To be getting any sort of backlash, I just don't understand fans that backlash, because majority of the flipping clubs, not majority, probably every club's got a black player in it.
What I don't understand is we've seen the high level of football that black people in particular play at across the countries of the successful nations in Europe, whether it be England, France. You look at the France team, they're literally one of the most African-based sides in the world. With how are players playing at that top level, but we're not getting them players then go through into top level management echelons? I know we're getting more like the likes of Patrick Vieira and that alike, but how hasn't it transcended from elite performance in black players to elite performance in management?
It's like I mean, eventually it has to drift out, but it's like a club, basically. All looking after each other. You'll see the same managers getting the jobs, the same coaches getting the jobs. But eventually, you know, everyone gets older, and like everyone's pushing now and saying, you know, we need more black players or Asian players or whatever. It's slowly gonna come to where you're gonna see more black players and Asian players in clubs, managing clubs, coaching clubs. But like I said, old school mentality, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Right. That brigade are now getting old, and they're going, and the next batch will be coming through. I'd definitely like to see a lot more transparency in the application and interview process, to see who's actually applying for the jobs, to see if there is fairness in your application. So if I'm applying for a job as a UEFA B, UEFA A, and a pro licensed manager, and not getting an interview, but somebody that's got only a B license, then I want to know why. And, I'd like to see that transparency across all levels of football. You know, if there's no problem, transparency is never an issue.
Exactly.
I'd like to touch on the issue raised by one of my colleagues who works for Sky, Dev Triad. He does some fantastic work in the Asian community, trying to highlight the plight and lack of diversity and representation from Asian footballers in the Football League, in the Premier League. It seems to me like they're still so underrepresented. Is there not enough opportunity to spot the talent in that demographic? Is there not enough talent in that caliber of demographic to make the Football League and the Premier League? What is going on?
I think the Asian community, football is normally not their chosen sport, is it? So I think, and they haven't got
cricket and Test cricket and 2020 cricket is massive in that context. We'll get it right, but football's such a huge game. It would be silly for us to say that there isn't quality players of Asian background, even in this country.
Yeah, no, of course, and I think like everything, you need a trailblazer. You need someone to come through and be, inspire the next generation. For me, it was John Barnes. John Barnes was the one that I looked and I was like, wow, I want to be John Barnes. And I think the Asian community maybe needs someone who's going to be a trailblazer, going to take the bullets for the next batch to come through. Because you're absolutely right, Jane. Law of averages means there has to be some talent coming through in that demographic. There must be.
There can't not be. Do you know what I mean? There can't not be. It's impossible, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like Curtis is saying, there has to be someone because mine was Ian Wright. Do you get what I'm saying? I was just like, oh my God, that's what I want to be like. Do you get what I'm saying? I need to be like that.
Yeah.
And obviously there was other black players, but that was the main person. Like he was, Curtis was saying, John Barnes. Mine was Ian Wright, and I was just like, fuck this, I need to be like that.
It's mad. Like from my point of view, my hero, same as Knight, was Ian Wright. Yeah, I didn't think. Ian Wright. I didn't think one thing other than Ian Wright plays for Arsenal and he's our striker. And I'm sure there's a lot of white people that thought like that. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
When I saw him bowling on the pitch, I was like, oh my God, I need to get on the pitch and score and do something like that. You get what I'm saying? That was me personally, when I was growing up, I just wanted to score one goal. I swear down, yeah? Maybe I didn't have enough ambition and be saying, oh yeah, I want to become a great player and have a long career and this, that, and the other. I wanted to my mentality was, I just wanted to score one goal in front of 10,000 people and have them going crazy and me going absolutely ballistic with them. That was my dream. And obviously I made that dream come true on a few occasions, but mate, that was my...
But what I'm going back to saying is, Knighty, but you had that person to aspire to that talks like you, that was from where you're from, that looks like you. So you had that person. So going back to the Asian community, I think they need that person to be, that's who I want to be. That's my next person. When I'm coming through, when I'm older, I want to be like da-da-da-da. So
like the equivalent of Amir Khan in boxing, if you like, a trailblazer for the Asian community, who showed the way for other people. We've only got to look at the talent from Asian backgrounds, like the Azim brothers and whoever else coming through in the boxing.
I'm sure Man United have got an Asian player that's just come through. He made his first team debut not too long ago. I'm almost certain. But maybe he can be that that trailblazer and come through and create that path for Asian footballers to now step onto the scene and start showing what they're all about. Really.
I idolised Ian Wright so much as Knighty. I remember on my 8th birthday.
Nowhere near as much.
Trust me, I did.
Trust me,
I did. No, trust me, I did.
I was in the playground, yeah, and if you scored a goal at the weekend, and I watched it on Match of the Day, I was in the playground in school, and I had my mates set up in the same way that the ball was played in, and if we got it wrong, we'll be doing it again. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'll be celebrating, I'll be jumping on the fence, I'll be oh mate, honestly.
See, like non-Arsenal fans don't really appreciate Ian Wright as much as we do. They're like, oh, his highest goal tally was 18 goals in the Prem. But what you need to understand is we would only create 1 or 2 chances a game.
Yeah, we was a
so
1-0.
Right, he's winning 1-0, he's getting 1 chance and he's taking it. Yeah? It's not like we've had 17 chances for him and he's hit the post, the bar, or gone wide. He's getting 1 chance a game and he's taking it. He was clinical, mate. Finisher of moves, clinical.
I remember when we played Sheffield Wednesday at Highbury, and it was like Des Walker versus Ian Wright, and I was like, I was sweating because Des, absolute animal, great defender, everything, don't take no shit. And Wright got marked out the whole flipping game. I was there, nearly crying, bruv. Yeah, I was watching it, nearly crying, and then 1 chance, left foot, bam! I was like, oh, bruv, I swear down, I used to live in a council flat. I run outside, run down the whole landing, down the stairs, lived on the 4th floor, down the stairs, was running around the estate, everything, bruv. I swear, that's how much it meant to me. Because everyone's going, now Des Walker's got him in his pocket. Most of my family are Man United supporters as well. Do you get what I'm saying? And they was taking the piss. Des Walker's going to have him in his pocket, this, that, and the other. And he had him in his pocket for about 80 minutes of the game, bruv. And then 1 chance.
I think what just listening to Knight, Ian, and you guys talking just explains even more about how the Asian community need a trailblazer. They need to be watching a football game, having them same emotion linked to that player to be like, wow, that's where I want to be. Because as soon as then the game's over, you go out in your garden or you go and do whatever and you practice and you want to be that person. And the Asian community is huge, absolutely
massive.
Huge. Yeah.
Massive.
So that you can't tell me the talent's not out there. They just need that trailblazer to follow. They need an Ian Wright. They need a John Barnes. They need a David Beckham. They need a Cristiano Ronaldo. They need somebody who is, boom, that's who I want to be.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about England's failings against Hungary in the not so friendly cup. Bit of a pointless competition, if you ask me. I'm happy to have football.
What is that cup all about?
Mate, I'm as confused as you, Leon. It's basically, I don't know why we don't go back to the home nations. I thought that was a lot more interesting. It has the rivalry, the fact that we had a chance of winning it as well, because we're a little bit better than the other nations, was fantastic. I'm not loving this new system and tournament. Before we break that down, let's just talk about England, Southgate, 5 at the back, and everything that goes along with England losing.
I didn't watch the game, so I can't comment.
I didn't watch it.
This is what I'm talking about. The lack of excitement for England as an England fan. Not just you, the whole damn country.
I was at the bar. I had Ledley King, Sean Wright Phillips, who else did I have? Defoe. Wow. Everyone at the bar at that point there, taking 4 or 5 shots in a row. Yeah. And people being sick.
Tell us where you was, for the viewers that don't know. Tell us what was going on.
I was at Jermaine Defoe's wedding, innit? So.
Wow. To the Senrab strikers back to back at wedding celebrations. Wow,
bro, it was unbelievable, bro. Honestly, mate, I've had some nights in my life, but I ain't nothing like that.
How's your knees? I've seen that dancing you doing. How's those knees?
Mate, honestly, if I fucking lived, I've got to have an operation on soon, so I couldn't really get down. Do you know what I mean? But it was unbelievable, mate. Do you know what I mean? Unbelievable.
Do you know what touched me? Do you know what touched me?
Imagine. All right, Curtis, imagine flipping being at a place and everything's just, the bar's free, bro. If you wanted a bottle of champagne, I just need a bottle of champagne. If you wanted like most expensive like shot or tequila or spirit or whatever, it was just there. Like, do you know what I mean, bro? I abused it completely, bro. I was taking shots. And I was being sick back into the glass and then taking the shot again.
Oh, you're wrong in that.
That's that council estate guy in you. I never leave.
Bruv,
what, free?
Free? Everyone was running from me. Everyone was running from me in the end.
Do you know what picture I like the most?
Listen, I done a thing where it was every half an hour was a shot. So wherever you was in that venue, I was coming to get you. Some people was with their wives. Oh, 90. I was like, bruv, shut up and get to the bar, yeah? Because we don't see each other often. So let's just make sure, yeah, we're going to remember this moment. Man was looking at his wife like to say, come and help me. And I was like, nah, right now, you can't help him right now. You know, this needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? Every half hour was a shot. Don't matter where you was. You could have been in the toilet taking a shit. I was coming to get you to take that shot at the bar. Yeah. Izzy, to be fair,
Izzy a rec pen. Yeah.
Izzy a rec pen. He held it down with me, to be fair.
Proper.
But you know what, Knighty? Yeah. I played in a charity football game a few weeks ago, and I played with some guys I ain't seen in like probably 20 years. How good is it when you kind of all get together again?
Mate,
so good, isn't it?
Mate, it's a feeling that I think only footballers have. I don't know about cricket players or rugby players or whatever, but flipping out when you get together, mate, do you know what I mean? And you start drinking and you start talking about memories and stuff. And it's an unbelievable feeling, mate. Honestly, it's an unbelievable feeling.
Do you know what touched me? Do you know what touched me? The picture, right? All the ballers are there. They're like strapping. They're like, everyone's like having it. And then you got 90 at the front, like a little war criminal. He's like that.
Honestly,
that's so funny. The best picture.
They was calling me the little Suge Knight of Death Row Records. You get what I'm saying?
That's what he looked like a mini Suge Knight. I'm cracking up. When I see the picture, I message 90, I'm crying. Can we get this picture up? Let's have a look at the ballers and 90 at the place. Let's have a quick Pat Butchers.
Can you believe he's saying like the ballers and 90? Like you're not even a baller, 90.
I'm referring to him as the journeyman.
No respect.
The ballers and the journeyman.
People don't know about that 1997, 98 Leon Knight. They don't know about that guy.
The worst thing, Curtis, I actually do. I'm like a super fan of 90. You know, I know about 90. I know about his levels from Senrab to Lily Shaw to Chelsea to turning down Tottenham. I know all about
I'm cool with what everybody's saying because when I buck up on like the elites, Ian Wright, Ledley King and stuff like that and whatever, Sean Wright Phillips, who's played at the highest level, they've all shown respect to the utmost. Do you know what I mean? So I don't really care what outsiders have got to say. Do you get what I'm saying? If you ask anybody that played in the same team as me or played against me or whatever, this, that, and the other, then you'd know. But flipping, I'm cool with what everybody wants to call me, bruv. I don't take offense to anything really. You know what I mean? So
no, I think that was a bit of level of disrespect by that newspaper that we shan't mention. To be honest,
bruv, I'm in the paper.
Yeah, but you should be in the paper rightly. You should be in there getting.
No, respect. But I'm in the paper, bruv. Like many man, like there's a couple man that didn't get mentioned.
Hold on a minute, James. You just said the ballers and 90. Don't be backpedaling now.
Yeah, you can't
I like digging him out a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Don't backtrack,
play to his ego too much.
You know don't backtrack now, bro.
I told him he was the most deadliest little man since Robert Earnshaw, bro.
Robert Earnshaw, wow, yeah.
Wow, remember him? He was lethal. He was lethal.
He want a patch on prime Leon Knight. No chance.
I often wonder if Knight would have got the break at Chelsea that season before he went out. Just that break. I know, like the players in front of him were incredible.
I don't know if you've heard this story.
It would have took balls to play him over Zola.
Do you know what I think, mate? As well, I think what wouldn't have helped your career would be the change from 4-4-2 to everybody playing 4-3-3 and a big man down the middle. Because you're a centre forward, but in a 4-3-3, teams are probably going to put you on the left or on the right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, the story was with the whole Chelsea thing. I was at the top of the next people to come through. Then it was like Carlton Cole and stuff. And I had a fight in training. And Stephen Watt, I punched Stephen Watt in his face. Everyone blood and whatever and this, that, and the other. Mick McGivern had a go at me or whatever. I didn't like what he was saying, to be honest. So I went in the change room, got me bag, got me car keys, spun out from the changing room, spun out from the car park, and within about an hour and a half, 2 hours, my agents called me and said, "Oh, we're going to get you out on loan to Brighton." Now, me going to Brighton, I scored 3 goals in 2 games. And obviously they're loving me, the fans there. I'm what I want, really. Do you get what I'm saying? I signed and Abramovich came in literally within days, bruv.
Really?
Literally within days. And then Carlton Cole, you saw Carlton Cole, bam, he was in. And that was it, really.
Wow.
Do you get what I'm saying? So if I would have stayed there, not had that fight, even if I had the fight and I just stayed there, I think it would have been a bit different. But it is, innit? It is what it is. You can't dwell on the flipping past. I still had a half decent career with flipping Brighton, still done a bit with Brighton and stuff. So I'm kind of happy. But yeah, it could have went dramatically the other way.
Punching Stephen Watt potentially might have cost you a lot.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's me just I had many fights, mate. Don't worry about it. I had to defend myself. I had to defend myself from that flipping paedophile lot of the group that we had up on the flipping above us. The reserve lot. Fucking, there was a bunch of mate, honestly. So, I had to. We had plenty of back and forths and arguments and.
You didn't get on with the older group then? Nah. They had ways that I weren't, accustomed to growing up or anything like that. So what, like fruitiness?
Yeah, just stupidness. Like, do you know what I mean? Trying to put deep heat in your asshole and around your bell end and all that. Do you know what I mean? I didn't have that sort of mindset.
Do you reckon that made them try to target you more because they knew the way you was?
Yeah, and I was a player that, when I got out on the pitch, you couldn't really do anything to me. The only thing you could really do is like 2-foot me, and fucking try and chop me down and stuff.
Feel like a Bond villain. Unfortunately, we had a few technical issues there with the end of the show, but not to worry, me and the lads will be back next week for another instalment of Not For The News. Please download the Pitch Football app, check out the YouTube, get yourself involved, boss man. Goodbye.